Back to another episode of Sports Talk of Elite Wagers. I'm your host, Elite Wagers, and this is NFL Week 3. Obviously, as always, I want to send you all over to my Twitter. Make sure you're following, like, and retweet the tweets I've been putting out for NFL each week. Small apology on last week's episode. Things just weren't going right at all with my laptop and things like that, so couldn't do the full episode which I wanted to be able to do. Hopefully this week it will cooperate a little bit, but in terms of last week's results, didn't do overly good. Obviously week 1 we had a really good week. Week 2 wasn't the best. Went 4-6 for minus 1.5 units in total, but still up over 4 units on the season so far. Hopefully going to improve on that again this week, with obviously the betting selections that I've got for this week's episode, as well as hopefully getting some profit in the fantasy contest as well, the Red Zone contest over on Fan Team. So we'll get cracking. We'll get started with the fantasy football. So we're going to head over to Fan Team, find the NFL Sunday Red Zone for week 3, and we're going to play the £10 entry game. And as always, I'm going to be breaking down each position, my favourite players for those particular positions and things like that, why I'm going to be picking them, and etc. In terms of players on the board this week, as you can see, a lot of players are reasonably priced. So you can get quite a lot of players that are reasonably priced, having a high fantasy total season so far in the first 2 weeks. But for me, there's a few that stand out more than others. Obviously, you've got the 2 rushing quarterbacks at the top there, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, being the 2 most expensive players on the board. But Dan Jones has had a really, really good start to the season. Obviously, he gets a bit of a softer game against Tennessee Titans, so that may be a good selection. Drake Mays had a good game last week, but he does have a harder game against Pittsburgh as well. So for me, I'm going to be going with Baker Mayfield. I'm a huge fan of Baker Mayfield anyway. I think he's a really, really, really good quarterback. He does play the New York Jets, who historically for the last couple of seasons have had a decent defense. But 5 passing touchdowns, 382 passing yards for him, 72 rushing yards as well. He's got really good receivers, a good running back core as well, and a good offensive line to keep him upright. He's played 2 fairly decent teams, the Falcons and the Texans. 19 plus points in both of those games. Now, obviously, like I said, plays the New York Jets. Their defense isn't doing too well. Obviously, let up 32 points against the Steelers, as well as getting blown out again last week as well. So I think Baker Mayfield can have a really, really good game in this one. And we're going to pair him actually with his top receiver so far this year, and that's going to be Egbuka when we find him on the list. He's at the top of this there. He's Egbuka there. He's had a really, really good start to the year. Two touchdowns in week 1, 1 touchdown last week as well. 3 in total. 96 receiving yards. A rush there as well. 8 receptions, and he's had, as I said, 2 touchdowns against the Falcons in week 1. 1 touchdown last week against the Texans, and I think he's got that bond now with Baker Mayfield where that can continue throughout the season. I think he's one of the guys that he's found some real confidence in pre-season and to start the year, and I think Egbuka can help Baker Mayfield have a good year, and a good game against the Jets this week. And then the second one we're going to go back to the top of the list, and we're going to go for a more expensive player. Again, Chase and Jefferson, they play each other, but both don't have their starting quarterbacks. So they're both backup quarterbacks. So again, a little bit reserved on picking these 2. So I don't really want to pay that much money where there's not a dead cert on sort of who's going to be throwing the ball to them, and if they're actually going to be any good. So I'm going to go down the list a little bit. I'm going to go to Old Faithful, CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, he's got Dak Prescott back. I keep mentioning the last time they both played, both healthy. He went for 17 touchdowns, 1,700 yards as well. No touchdowns just yet, but he is averaging 111 receiving yards per game with 8 receptions per game. 18 points against the Eagles, and 20 points against the Giants. So again, he's still that key man for the Dallas Cowboys. Does have a decent matchup against the Bears. The Bears haven't been, overly good on defense, and I think CeeDee Lamb, he can get a few catches and maybe even get himself into the end zone for this game. Then we're going to go down to the next one. I've picked him actually quite a bit so far in fantasy contests and a few betting parlays and things like that. We're going to go Keenan Allen. I'm a fan of Keenan Allen. I think he's really good. He's got a really good rapport with Justin Herbert. I think he averaged something like 4 receptions per game with Justin Herbert as his quarterback. To start the year, 12 receptions, so 6 receptions, averaging per game, 129 yards, so 64.5, and a touchdown per game, averaging as well. Touchdown in game 1, 68 receiving yards, 7 receptions, and then the second game, 5 receptions, 61 yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. So similar stats for both of those games. It could be a sign of things to come for the rest of the season, that he's still that guy for Justin Herbert. Playing the Denver Broncos, obviously the Broncos have the best defense in the league statistically at the moment, so it's going to be a difficult game, but Justin Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and if he wants to find a particular man, he has the ability to be able to find that man. I think Keenan Allen can be that guy, so I'm banking on him having a big week for the Chargers this week. We go to the running back room, and there's a few players I like at this top price bracket. Bucky Irvin's had a really good start to the season. Christian McCaffrey seems to be back to his best, and obviously they haven't got a lot of their wide receivers and haven't got their star tight end now as well. So McCaffrey could be a really, really good option. 19.8 million is a little bit steep for me, so I'm going to go for Bijan Robinson. Again, another guy that I've picked quite a bit to start the year, but he can just do it all. Only got 1 touchdown this year, but he does have 125 receiving yards and 167 rushing yards. So he's averaging well over 100 scrimmage yards, averaging 4.5 receptions, and like I said, he's got that touchdown. So 19 points or more in both of these 2 games. Again, Bijan Robinson can be that guy for the Falcons to help them past the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, the Panthers haven't been too good to start the year either. The Falcons should be able to win this fairly comfortably. I think Robinson can certainly contribute in both areas, on the ground and through the air, and continue his dominance at the moment at running back. And then we're going to go down a little bit further, not much further, to Jonathan Taylor. Again, he has a soft sort of matchup I mentioned before with Dan Jones. He has 1 receiving touchdown, 77 receiving yards, 236 rushing yards, 5 receptions. So he's averaging well over 140, over 150 scrimmage yards per game. 1 touchdown as well. It's a bit of an off game there for him in the Dolphins game. But if he can get back to that game that he had against the Broncos, that would be absolutely fantastic. But he's got a soft matchup against the Tennessee Titans. They look really, really bad at the moment, especially on offense. If the offense can't keep them on the field, the defense is going to get a lot more, a lot tired, a lot tireder, and that will allow the Colts to sort of take the lead and Jonathan Taylor to be able to run the ball, at his heart content, basically. And then we're going to go down to Etienne, Travis Etienne. He's had a good start to the year for Jacksonville. Over 100 yards rushing, a few receiving yards, got the receiving touchdown, but obviously primarily a running back. As you can see there, 143 rushing yards against the Panthers. So again, playing the Panthers, Bijan Robinson should be able to emulate some things that Travis Etienne did a couple of weeks ago. And the Bengals, he had a decent game against the Bengals too. So him getting a matchup against the Texans haven't done too well to start the year. They've sort of kept them a little bit close, but haven't been able to progress further than that. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will win that game, and I think Travis Etienne Jr. is going to be able to run the ball. I think he's going to be able to run into the end zone, grab a few points, and contribute to the Jacksonville win. Then we're going to back up to the tight end position. Now, again, a lot of good options here. But it's going to be hard for me not to pick, in my opinion, one of the best tight ends in the league, and that's going to be Tucker Kraft. Actually, we're there. If we go to tight ends, total points. Yeah, he leads all tight ends for fantasy production at the moment. Really, really good pass catching tight end. He's basically a third or fourth wide receiver for the Packers. 140 receiving yards, 3 rushing yards, 8 receptions, 2 receiving touchdowns. He's got a receiving touchdown against the Lions. And that was basically his only contribution. The Commanders, another receiving touchdown with over 100 yards in receiving. Again, Jordan Love loves to find Tucker Kraft. He can be that guy for Jordan Love. Jaden Reed has gone down for the Packers, so it may give Kraft a little bit more looks in this game against Cleveland, who sort of haven't, again, a team that haven't played well to start the year. Only really have Myles Garrett on the defense. So if Jordan Love can sort of be protected a little bit from Myles Garrett, he can have all day to find Tucker Kraft into the end zone, hopefully. And then we're going to go defense, special teams. And we are actually going to go for the most expensive defense in the league, and it's going to be the Packers again. Obviously, really, really good defense so far this year. Managed to hold the Lions to just 13 points, I think it was. Let's have a look here. Just 13 points and 18 points for the Commanders. So 2 high-powered offenses from last year kept under 20 points while scoring 27 themselves. Another game that's favoured for the Packers. The Browns haven't done too well this year, haven't scored too many points. Obviously, comes up as a soft game there, a green game for the Packers against the Browns. Taking a look at a few sacks, stats, 8 sacks, 1 interception, and obviously kept under 20 points for them as well. I think this is an ideal matchup for the Packers defense. Obviously, Micah Parsons should now be ready to go with no sort of snap count. But even if he is still on the snap count, we've played really, really, really well with him on that snap count. So I've got no doubt that the Packers will be able to have a decent showing this weekend. So this is my fantasy team for this week. Tucker Kraft, basically a fourth wide receiver. Egbuka, Lamb and Allen, I think they've all played very well to start the year. Hopefully can get in the end zone with some decent yardage. Baker Mayfield, similar. Very, very good in the air. I'm a big fan of Baker Mayfield. I've got all confidence in him be able to do things in this game. Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne Jr. I think that's a solid running back trio. All capable of going for 100 plus yards and a touchdown. And then the Packers defense, who could potentially shut out the Cleveland Browns. Okay, so moving on to my NFL bets for this weekend. Quite a few on the list so far. Let's try and get into it as easy as possible. So find the NFL, which is there. The first one. I don't want boosted. Why is it boosted? American football, there it is. All right, USA, NFL. So the first one on my list, I do have a same game parlay for that, for this game, which I'll go through after. Actually, we'll go through the bets first. So the first one on the list is going to be the Packers, and we're going to get it at -7. It's -8 at the moment. I'm going to get -7. And that's going to go in the bet slip. I think it's a simple case of the Packers are just simply better than the Cleveland Browns, obviously scoring 27 in back-to-back games, holding their opponents to under 20. Already creates a +7 differential for the Packers. The Browns haven't scored too many points either. They don't look very good offensively or defensively. I think it's just as simple as that. I think the Packers can win by a touchdown. Next game on the list is going to be the... where is it? We'll go for the Colts. We'll go for the Colts game. I'm going to go for the team total, if it is on here yet. Yes, it is. Team total. And we're going to go for the team total over 23.5. Oh, you can get 23, actually. That's cool. Over 23. So if they finish on 23, you do get the push, which means your money back. So I'm going to go for the Colts team total over 23. Obviously, mentioned them before, having a really soft matchup in this game. They've performed relatively well. Well, they have performed really well to start the year. The Titans have allowed 33. Well, they allowed 33 points against the Rams last week and 20 against the Broncos. At the moment, I think the Colts are slightly better than the Broncos offense. They've actually scored 29 against the Broncos and then 33 against the Dolphins. Historically as well, a little bit historical. The Colts last beat the Titans 38-30. They've also beaten them 31-28 and 23-16 in the last 4 games. So I think this is another game where they can dominate. The Titans offense hasn't clicked just yet, and I think the Colts defense and their offense can click and have been clicking to get 24 or more points to cash this bet. The next one we're going to go for is the Arizona Cardinals money line. Now I'm quite high on the Cardinals to start the year. I'm not going to lie. I've got their team total, their win total for the future bet. They started off 2-0, so they beat the Saints 20-13, and then beat the Panthers 27-22. The 49ers, on the other hand, they're missing a lot on offense. Obviously, Purdy's now out. They're missing Ayuk. They're missing Kittle. Obviously, they do have CMC, who's going to be needed to carry this team. But I think if the Cardinals can limit him, they can get a win in this divisional matchup. They haven't sort of been impressive in the last couple of games. They've won by 4 and they won by 5. Obviously, the Cardinals have won by 5 and 7, so they haven't been too impressive either. The last 2 heads-to-heads have gone the way of the Cardinals, winning 47-24 and then 24-23. I think this is a matchup that they're going to want to try and win to sort of stamp their authority on this division. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals to win this game. The next one's going to be the Dallas Cowboys to win. Again, another team that have had a mixed bag to start the year. Well, both teams actually have had a mixed bag to start the year. The Bears 0-2, but have scored a fair amount of points, scoring 24 and 21, but did get smashed 52-21 against the Lions last week. And then the Cowboys, on the other hand, kept it very, very close against the Eagles, losing 24-20. And then, I think a lot of people expected them to win by a lot more against the Giants, but actually took a walk-off field goal in overtime to beat the New York Giants 40-37. I think they can get some of that offense going against this Bears team. I think it's just a simple case of the Dallas Cowboys has a lot more potential than the Chicago Bears. So I think the Cowboys can come away with a win in this one. The next one, where's the next one? We're looking for the Jaguars. There's the Jaguars. We're going to go Jaguars money line. I mentioned the Texans. I'm not high on the Texans this year. I don't think they've done too well. They sort of look a little bit lax. Obviously 0-2, so they lost 14-9 against the Rams and then 19-20 against the Bucs. The Bucs didn't even look good in their win either. So the Jacksonville Jaguars have looked decent so far, winning 26-10. Kept it close against the Bengals, 27-31. I think the Texans are going to be shocked by the progression of the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. And I think, like I said before, with Travis Etienne Jr., I think they can dominate this game and sort of run the game down. And I think they can grab the win. Are they on the road? I think they are on the road. But yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars, I think, just have more potential. CJ Stroud hasn't looked very good offensively. He hasn't really clicked with any of his receivers or anything like that. The run game's a little bit behind where it should be. Obviously, Joe Mixon being sidelined doesn't help. I think the Jaguars have more tools than the Texans. I think they can grab the win in this one too. And then we're going to go down to the Rams game. Where's the Rams and Eagles? The Rams and Eagles. So I've got a same game parlay in this one, so you get this on Bet365. Oh, can you get on here actually? That'd be interesting. Yes, you can. Right. So we're going to increase the line for the Rams to 9.5, and then we're going to decrease the number here to 37.5. So we're going to go for. Is that it? Yes, there we go. Rams plus 9.5 and over 37.5. Both teams' offenses are really good. The Eagles haven't shown it yet, scoring 20 and 24. But the Rams just put up 33 against the Titans. The Eagles' pass defense has been compromised in the past before. Obviously, Matt Stafford being a very, very good passer. Two really good passing options as well in Tay Adams and Puka Nacua. So I think both offenses can do really, really well. Obviously, Kyron Williams is very good on the ground as well. Saquon Barkley, likewise, one of the best. And Jalen Hurts can throw the ball, and he's got some good receivers as well if he does choose to throw the ball. So I think the over is a very good play, and I think the Rams can keep this. I think they can keep it within sort of a touchdown. So getting a few more points is going to be beneficial. And you can get that now. Look at that, 1.95, which is better than I originally thought. And then the final bet on the card is the final bet on the card is going to be on Monday Night Football, and that's going to be in the Chiefs and the Giants game. Now, you know me, I'm not high on the Chiefs. I'm not particularly high on the Giants either, but I'm going to go for the Giants, and it's going to be can you get -7 at 8? No. Okay, so -6.5 at 1.86. There was a stat going around last year that the Chiefs actually struggled to win by more than a touchdown against a lot of teams. This year they started off 0-2. They lost by 6 and they lost by 3 in the last 2 games. The Giants they got demolished in week 1, losing 6-21, but they did have a really good game last week where they were unlucky to win against the Cowboys, 40-37. A walk-off field goal in overtime got them that loss. So I think the Giants, have a little bit more to give than the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs missing a few wide receiver options. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy is questionable. Travis Kelce isn't the guy he once was. The running back room also isn't as good as it once was. The Giants just have a little bit more tools, a little bit more potential, I think. So I think they can keep this within 6 points. I'd have liked that at plus 7 if I could have got it, but I'll take plus 6.5. So there's my 7 bets. We got the Packers -7 at 1.76, the Colts team total over 23 at 1.8, Arizona Cardinals at 2.05, Dallas Cowboys to win at 1.95, Jacksonville Jaguars to win at 1.8. The same game parlay, so the Rams plus 9.5 and over 37.5 at 1.95, and then the Giants plus 6.5 at 1.86. So we'll clear all, and we're going to go for the money line parlay next. So this is 6 teams that I think are going to win outright. Maybe the lines are a little bit juiced, so you don't want to be taking these as a straight bet on their own. So I'm going to throw 6 teams together. Hopefully all 6 win. Week 1 we won, and it was at 10-1. Last week's lost by 1 selection, so we're looking good so far to start the year. So the 6 teams for me in this one are going to be, I'm going to try and get it down the list. So we're going to go for the Packers, as I mentioned in their breakdown for the -7. I just think they're way above the Cleveland Browns on both sides of the ball. We're going to go for the Buccaneers. Similar thing again. I think the Buccaneers have a lot more to give than they've actually shown so far. New York Jets have potential, but I think this Buccaneers team is just too good. We're going for the Colts. Similar thing again. The Colts have just started off really hot. The Titans are on the opposite. I think they can keep the ball rolling, keep on the front foot in this one, especially in a divisional game as well. The Indianapolis Colts to win. Commanders against the Raiders. Again, really high-powered offense from last year against a weak and mediocre Raiders. Geno Smith hasn't done too good to start the year. He's throwing the ball a lot, but he's throwing it to the wrong people. Commanders have a decent secondary. The Raiders' running back room isn't looking too good either. So I think the Commanders can win that fairly comfortably. Nice odds there for a parlay piece too. Who else do we have in this? We've got... where are we? Chargers. Where's Chargers? There's Chargers. Similar thing again, shown some really, really good promise in the first two games. The Broncos also have shown some promise in the first two games, but I think the Chargers have just been able to grind out these wins so far. I don't think there's many teams that can compete in terms of their grittiness and how they like to grind out games. So I think that makes them a hard team to beat. And I think they actually win this game against the Broncos. That should set them quite far above in terms of the standings as well in this division. And the last one's going to be the Ravens. Haven't spoke about this one too much. The Lions have disappointed me in the first two games, even though obviously they scored 52 against the Bears, but that's the Bears. I thought they would actually beat the Packers in week one. The Packers actually shut them down in all areas of the field. I think the Ravens have had a bit of a slow start as well. I think they've got a lot more to showcase than they've actually shown so far, losing by 1 point against the Bills, and that was a huge fumble of the win, allowing the Bills to come back from, I think it was like 24-40 at 1 point. And then obviously a solid win against the Browns last week where they put 41 points. I think this game can be a potential over in this one, but again, I think the Ravens are just a safer option. I think they will win this game. So you get those 6 teams: Packers, Buccaneers, Colts, Commanders, Chargers, Ravens, all to win. And that's going to be at odds of 9.47, so almost 10-1. So £10 on returns £94. Nice and easy in your bank account at the end of the week. So let's cash that hopefully on NFL this week. Okay, so we're going to move on to Bet365. I'm going to go for the Monday night, not the Monday night football, the Thursday night football same game parlay between the Dolphins and the Bills. So I'm going to put 4 selections in this one. I've been doing 6, coming close. So I'm going to shrink it down. I'm going to do 4, and it's going to be 4 props that I really, really like within this game. So the first one is going to be Tua Tagovailoa. Can I get across? And it's going to be 250 passing yards. That's going to start us off. As you can see, 315 passing yards in their last game. I think this is going to be a game where they're going to be behind a lot, so Tua is going to have to throw the ball a lot. Obviously, shown that he can connect with his receivers. Sending Tyreek Hill over 100 yards last week. And I think it's just going to be a game where they're going to be coming from behind, so I think it's going to be down to Tua and if he can find his receiver. So with that as well, we're going to go back and we're going to go to Tyreek Hill for 50 yards as well. Obviously 109 last week, as I said, 40 week 1, so nearly hit 50. He's been a speed machine, a speed monster for a number of years. Everyone knows his threat. If he gets one catch, he can go for 50 yards. So I think he's going to be the main focal point for Tua, trying to get him involved a lot. He showed a lot of frustration in week 1 where he didn't get the ball as much as he would have liked. But again, this is going to be a game where Tua is going to have the ball in his hand a lot more than he has done in the previous 2 games, in my opinion anyway. And then we're going to go for one of Josh Allen's favoured targets, and that's going to be Kincaid. How do I go across? Oh, there it is there. So we're going to go for Dalton Kincaid, and we're going to go for 20 yards for him, 20 receiving yards for him. 48 in week 1, 37 in week 2. Josh Allen likes to find these tight ends. Obviously, Dawson Knox nearly hitting 20 in both games as well. He likes to find the tight ends. They're his safety blanket. Obviously, Coleman and Shakir had a bit of low games last week. But the anchor for the team on offense is basically Dalton Kincaid. He likes to be found quite a lot, so I think we're going to go for him for 20 plus yards. And the last one's going to be a prop that I haven't actually used yet, and it's going to be the Bills for over 1.5 rushing touchdowns. So 3 in week 1, 3 in week 2. Josh Allen himself has a couple, and James Cook also has a couple too. So those 2 are the favourites for touchdowns in this market this week. So we're going to go for the Bills to rush for 1.5 touchdowns, and that's it. So the 4 selections for this week: Tua plus 250 passing yards, Tyreek Hill 50 plus receiving yards, Kincaid 20 plus receiving yards, and the Bills to rush for 2 or more touchdowns, and that's at 5.5, so plus 400 if you're American odds, 5.5 in decimal. So that's my bet builder for Thursday Night Football. And then we're going to go to the touchdown parlay now for this week. So it's 4 players this week. 4 players, hopefully 4 touchdowns for each player. And we're going to skip through a few names that I've already used, but we're going to go to Jordan Mason. Obviously, 49ers player last year, did really, really well. This week, he's running back 1. Aaron Jones is out, so he will be running back 1. And obviously, no JJ McCarthy for the Vikings, so he could see a lot more of the ball. I think he's going to get a lot of the goal line work as well, so I think Jordan Mason is a solid angle to go against this Bengals defense, which is really, really poor. I think Jordan Mason can get in for the Vikings. We're going to go for Josh Jacobs again as well. 10 games straight with a touchdown for Josh Jacobs. Again, against this Cleveland Browns defense, who hasn't done too well at stopping the run thus far. I think Josh Jacobs is our best option for a touchdown, and obviously he's going to be getting a lot of the goal line work, a lot of the red zone carries as well. So Josh Jacobs for a touchdown. Then we're going to go to the Colts game, as I mentioned before. Jonathan Taylor, he's only got 1 receiving touchdown so far this year, so yet to get one on the ground. Playing against this soft Tennessee Titans team, I think the Colts can come out to a bit of an early lead, maybe hold it throughout the game, which would allow the run game to be strong for the Colts. So Jonathan Taylor to get in the end zone as well. And then the final one is going to be one of my guys, and it's going to be James Conner. James Conner already has a touchdown as well this year. Playing against the 49ers, I think they're going to see a lot of the ball, are the Cardinals. So I think James Conner can get a lot of carries. He's a bit of a monster when he gets in his stride. I think he's a solid option this week for a touchdown. I think he can get in against the 49ers. I think he's their best option to do so as well. So there's the 4 players for the touchdown quartet, if you like. Jordan Mason, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner. You get that at 10.5 odds, so that's plus 950 in American odds. So there's your parlays, there's your straight bets for this week. Keep an eye on my Twitter. I will be dropping a Sunday Night Football same game parlay, a Monday Night Football same game parlay, and also a player prop parlay as well, which is going to be a few players that I really like for select lines and things like that. Hopefully win, sweep the board will be lovely. Don't forget to follow, like and retweet this when it comes out. Also head over to my YouTube, drop me a subscription. Again, like, share, comment on all my videos if you watch through multiple, but especially on this one when it drops, make sure you drop a like. You drop a sub, click the bell so you don't miss a single episode as well. Click the bell even up there. Go through, drop me a like, drop me a follow, and make sure you tail in. Any extra sort of like, retweet, shares, comments, all those kind of things, it helps me a lot. It helps my episodes go further, helps me help more people win more money. So with that being said, I'm out for this episode. I'll be back in a couple of days for the EPL episode, so make sure you're ready for that one too. Good luck for everyone's fantasy football this week. Good luck for everyone's bets this week, and hopefully we win. So let's get it, and I'll catch you later.